This is continuation on non-killing lifestyle. How to have enough food. This class I will start with the based on own appetite and the spectrum of needs, from physical to its manifestations that are based on what's around, so supply, and that have to decide in the first place what it is that will be eaten. That is not necessarily okay to, when one craves, for instance, only dead animals, to go for it and have that instead of having something that is not killed, unable to resist it, and gaining weight and building that death quote. That is to know if there is a craving for something that too many humans were saved. It does not mean do not save humans. It or predators that are fed on our fault each with that shreds of animals, and so then the person by the ecosystem is targeted for being too good to those that kill other species. Okay, and so that means stop them saving unless while it's suffering, or he, she, or them. Stop them saving and look around and see what is being harmed because of that person. Look around, and when you find out what is being shared, being harmed, and why you hated for helping that person, then say, for instance, I don't know, like in Arizona, animals, chickens, or plants, that is a break, or advocate, for instance, and teach animal rights, because that is what it takes to enable safety also of persons like I, who are in humans mostly, because that is otherwise pointless. My job then is consists of doing job to have that destroyed constantly, and being then by physicians as well intended to be killed for saving persons that do not permit a harmless existence at freedom, or having the dogs and cats and others and humans have that killing stopped. That is when pain is gone, that does not cause that alteration to harm. On diet now, the diet first based on urge. So the hunger, when persons we are rested, it is rare, but normally it should be manifested as this kind of sensation in abdomen that is subtle, and that has borboria, which is movement of perception of the stomach, that something could be in the stomach, that is hunger, with this nice feeling of emptiness that is in the stomach, and urge to have to seek foods. And that is when that food, when served, when it's what is planned, what we designed as a program each, is wanted when served. When that is not the case, and we seek for foods, like for instance a wild animal, that is different, because that means that one is then still picking what is most available, and area is deficient. And that means then that others want something else, so it is one person wants white beans, the other one wants red ones, and so from the storage we cannot mix, or one person wants to add something else, and so it cannot be shared. And that is what is in the ecosystem on a larger scale also present. And if then we grab an item that somebody else's could die from, that causes even anaphylactic shock. That is how smart body is. So physical response to prevent from ingestion of food that is in proportions to be life-saving to another, causing death if ingested. That's how it works. And it's not permanent. It means that if we plant as exposure enough of it, then we can share it, and the other has enough, and self having paradoxically more, so paradox for two, can have that food as well, and not rejected physically, which is what allergies are. Excess, on the other hand, of food, when that kills, for instance, bugs and all the other plants like wheat, sometimes can cause allergies such as celiac and other diseases that are a rejection of having these seeds in excess, killing other plants like earth cancer. And having persons exhausted physically and mentally doing so makes certain plants not craved. So when we do not like to have wheat, if that is not an allergy, so it feels like that killing of those seeds is manifested in harm, like in celiac disease, in organs and bleeding, then in proportions of what is being killed and or dying and having those seeds being taking away space and not possible to eat them as they are, then that is okay to eat them. However, that has to be that these seeds are prepared to be shared with animals as breadies or as some sort of some sort of something with also wild animals to prevent them from killing and from dying. So we can then enable feeders. It does require permit from rangers or from persons who are in charge there. But the animals, remember, those wild animals, they also are our responsibility, called common welfare. And so if one is true Illuminati or humanist, one has never hurt anyone, nor one has ever harmed anyone, and lives in such way that if one failed, one repented and corrected mistake in reverse order. So that's a true humanist in every profession. That is now to explain that also all needs to be we need to be aware of, and all needs to be included in that quote. So that then leads to expansion of the universe. If there's an illusion of being killed by something, then we need to find an angle always how to make sure that good intentions are discovered and have that not kill, but actually pursue what it is that it is pursuing. The next idea is to have you have the diet plan each for self. I am a physician. I am actually a physician who has done an extensive research on nutrition, however much less than on energy, and but the combined with lifestyle. So I've been working out, and I've been working out for a long time and studying using only non-killing lifestyle. I did supplement with some whey for some time. I found that it was bad. I suffered from it. That is possible to change. So to know, first of all, on urge. If urge is strong to reject, don't eat it, don't force it on others. That's it. There's nothing wrong with child, person or animal not wanting. Don't force it, don't give it. Body knows what is harmful. If person chokes or spits out or does not want, then that person, unless the person has incapacity from some other causes not to ingest it and wants, asks for something, we do not force it. It's against medical oath and police oath, and it harms, it's doing harm and causing diseases because body is smart. There's something wrong with what one is doing, and that is what is causing that problem. The opposite, if something is wanted, then we offer. One it chokes and wants, for instance, badly to have, for instance, vegan diet and tolerates it, well, we seek what it is that person can do to have it. If person suffers physically and cries and suffers, body needs to be aligned with mind. It does not mean dead animals necessarily. It means search for what that person feels like, because if person grieves, person will be intoxicated, and so that is important. That then also, like I said, in North Dakota, screen for celiac and gluten intolerance, or make sure that per each area, in each foster care, for dogs and for others, there is whatever is dependent on that person, an option to know that person can die if provided only option being only, for instance, most abundant seeds or one seed that is essential for survival of another. We don't know who or what, because it can be, I don't know, coyote in somewhere. and that person or in a group, and that person is eating it and is being hurting, and so then sometimes we may not hear their doors, and the person can die, and that is a burden on people. So don't do that, and remember in admissions that is important to know also circumstances in which persons were stabbed. How person looks, if person is bleeding or dirty or whatever, that does not mean that the person was not struggling with a colleague somewhere in corrections. That is not okay. A colleague may have been upset because of something else, and or stories, and that is not the responsibility of one, but one needs to know when to use own initiative to stop doing harm, because murder by numbers is a song only, I hope, also by doing.